Hello, happy people. Here's a quick update on why my latest videos on YouTube don't have proper sound in it. I used OBS with settings that I found on YouTube. It did seem like a good tutorial. I'm not blaming the guy or anything. It's my own fault for not digging into all the bits of this application. So OBS, the recording software, of course, it has a couple of settings that I didn't know how they worked, and after a little while I encountered a little issue with sounds, nothing too bad, and I started changing some settings, and I accidentally output my desktop audio. As you can see here at the bottom of the screen, the desktop audio and the microphone audio were both in a separate track, and YouTube doesn't reprocess those files into one track. You can, however, do this with by re-encoding it. Well, I don't know if you necessarily need to re-encode it, but I haven't figured out the commands to actually do it without re-encoding. I still had a couple of backup files of the games that I uploaded to YouTube. I played those in a regular media player like VLC, and I saw in the audio options that I could select the tracks, and apparently the two tracks are the ones that you see here at the bottom: mic auxiliary and desktop audio. Now, why did this happen? I started trying out things and checking all of the options and settings. So what I figured out was that first of all, you activate which audio devices that you want to be passed through. You can add a couple more, but what I've got here is just this is headphones. Well, it's speakers, loudspeakers in my language, and then microphone. Once you got that, you can go to your output recording, and this is what will be output into the file. And here I had, like in the example given on YouTube, I had selected 2 audio tracks. I've seen other videos where they select all of them. It is useful if you do video editing, where video editing and you want to change the audio overlays in your videos and things like that. You're better off splitting all of your audio tracks into multiple ones, so you can do whatever you like on your video editing. In this case, well, for gaming recording and voice, I think you can just put it in one track, which apparently YouTube only likes. It only likes one track of output. So the file that I'm generating will have one track in it. The audio here, it does not need to be changed. I haven't seen much difference between the bit rates there. You could up the bit rates a bit, but it will increase your file size, and unless you're a real audiophile, audio freak, you don't need this, I think. Well, not at the moment. So once you've done that, you've now set your system to know what are the audio inputs and what to output into the file. One track in my case. Now what I've done here, if you right click on any of these audio devices and you go to the advanced audio properties, you have the option of selecting into which track this audio should be recorded, and it needs to be set like this. It both needs to go into one track, since I only have one output track as well. Before that, I had 2 output tracks in the file in the files. The 2 output tracks, I don't know why by default, but they were both ticked. So this was my first setting. Everything was working fine, and then for some reason I had after I had a little issue, I for some reason I had done like this. I want this in one track and the other one to go in another track, and of course that split it up and made all my desktop audio be dropped when reprocessed by YouTube. So there you go, that's option number one. At the moment I'm still watching also to see if I, well, I'm watching out for a new microphone. But during that time period now, I also figured out how the filters work. You can have noise gauge compressors, you can add more to it. I'm quickly going to run through the compressor. Apparently is something that if you see the waveform of the sound that you make, it will compress it down. It will you got to play with this effect to see how it affects your voice and things. What's good about this one for me especially is the output gain, because the microphone I have apparently doesn't get a lot of sound through it. It doesn't output a lot of sound, so I'm using this one to filter out a bit of the noises and get them amplified, so to speak. The noise gate, a very good one. The close and open thresholds, I think it's concerning the decibel when it kicks in and when it doesn't. I saw in a video that you best put this at a low value, which is 1 millisecond. It's like instantaneous, that it will kick in. And then the close and open threshold is when it activates and stops for suppressing the noises, on which levels I think. The other one I use noise suppression, noise gate, and compressor. Those are the three I use. Yeah, this is another version of OBS that I'm running, a second version, just to show you guys these things. That's something you can play with if your microphone is not like good. I'm thinking about getting a Yeti Blue or something like that. So I have to look for where they sell them at a decent price here. So yeah, I still had some backups of the files that I was processing, that I put on YouTube. Sorry. And then I went looking, how can I combine two audio tracks into one audio track into the same video stream. I don't have access to any of the good video editing software and tools. They cost quite a bit of money. So I went looking around for free scripts, open source stuff, and I came up with something which is called FFmpeg. It's a standard free, it's open source program. It is command line, however, so you will have to fiddle around with it a bit. But what I did with it, and it worked really well. It did, however, re-encode the whole file, so it took a while to process. But what I did here was take the original file, -I is the input, then filter complex. I don't know what that means. It worked for me, so whatever. And then this part apparently is where you select the audio tracks. So from input 0, I think audio track 1 and 2. And you define that you will merge them into two inputs into one. A merge, audio merge, I think that is. And then here -C is codec. The A, I don't know, audio, yeah. Then I had to, from the example taken from the FFmpeg website, I had to change this part into AAC, which is the default codec apparently. Don't need to specify -LC or LC, which is another, I think, it's a profile used on the encoding, and then this was the output. The original file here, so it did reprocess the whole file. It re-encoded the whole file. The original file was 8 gigs and the output file was only 2 gigs, so that's a very nice compression. It did run for a long time, and I don't have the processor power to spare yet. My next setup is probably going to be a separate computer for just for processing, reprocessing the video files that I'm making. So yeah, there it is. That's a bit of information on why I lost audio in some of my videos. It's a bummer, it's a shame, but I'm not going to put any more upload into it. I'm not going to change them. It's the start, it's the learning curve, and we'll get on with it. And I'll hope to see you now in one of my gaming videos. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.